All right, good morning. Can people hear us? Looks like we have nobody on right now. Let's see if we can get some people on. Okay, so we'll just see if we get any people, and then when we get people, we'll really start with our presentation. But until then, we'll just leave this on and see who comes. Right now, we are not showing our video, so you're good. So it looks like somebody's looking at us. Okay, so we'll keep up this over here. All right, looks like we have one viewer. This is Ashley Gillespie and my students. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on our camera so you can see us over here. Hello. Okay, so if we want to introduce ourselves, this is Alyssa.
Amber.
And the rest of my class is behind us. Guys, if you want to say hi. Hi. Okay, so we're so excited for you to join us today. We have a today's meet up if you want to join us. That way we can see as you chat. Okay. So, or we have the group chat here on the Google Hangout. So we're going to go ahead and start our presentation, but please feel free to ask us questions as we go. All right, let's screen share. All right, this is called Googly for Google, and we are big into Google at Butterfield. So as you can see, sorry, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. All right, here is today's, you can see that. Here's today's meet, and then you can see our learning target for today. So we're hoping that by the time we end the session, you're going to learn about some Google tools to enhance your teaching. Let me get that up there. So if you need to know how to learn the basics, I'm sure most of us do. Would anybody mind commenting if you feel like you need to learn just the basics of Google, or if you'd rather start learning about digital notebooks, using Google Slides? We wanted to design this for the way you want to learn. So can anybody tell us what you want to learn more about? Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and start. And I think, Relica, are you going to begin with digital notebooks? Is that right? Right there. Thank you. All right, so Relica is going to talk about digital notebooks. So go ahead, Relica.
I like using the digital notebooks because they're really easy.
Talk loud. So how about we just show off your digital notebook? Why would you prefer a digital notebook than your regular notebook?
I have bad handwriting, and I'm just faster at typing.
Okay. So what are some things that you record in your digital notebook here?
I record my learning target and notes.
Talk loud.
I record my learning target and some notes.
Okay. And this is your history notebook. So you can see how you did LTs at the beginning of the year, and then these are your notes. All right, great. Okay, so let's see if we can go back. Here's her reading and writing notebook. So I actually get to have Relica 4 hours a day. Here's her reading and writing notebook. So she's designed it the way she wants it to look. And then we have some helpful links if she wants to go to response questions, Google Classroom. Haley, I think you use digital notebooks too.
Yes.
So why do you like digital notebooks?
I just like them because I'm a fast typer and my handwriting's horrible too. So I pay Relica.
Okay, and if you noticed, I've asked 2 of these 5 students here use digital notebooks. I also let the other students use their physical notebooks if they'd rather. Alyssa, do you use physical or digital?
Physical.
Okay. So we just kind of make it to fit the student. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. We're going to move on now to Google Slides. And Google Slides is probably what we use the most in class, don't you think?
Yes.
Okay, so we start off every morning with a do now, and a do now is like our bell ringer. Does anybody want to get started talking about that?
We have like discussions of what we're gonna do every day and like throughout. It's like a do now.
Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and we have on Mondays a do now meeting. So this is actually our do now meeting from last week. And tell them what we do during our do now meeting.
We write down our LTs and
LTs are learning targets. Okay, and you can see our learning target here. Okay, what else do we do?
We write down what we're going to do for the week.
Write down what we're going to do for the week. So it kind of gives them a heads up on what we have going on that week and what they need to look forward to or know about. For example, this talks about some notes that we were going to do on Wednesday and that we had a project due here on Tuesday. We also start, I'm going to back up a little bit. So we start with a week. Then we always start with a dose of positivity. And normally our dose of positivity goes with what we're doing in class that week. So, for example, this week we were doing a session on progress. And this happens to be a quote from the Carousel of Progress we're at
Disney World.
Disney World. And then we made a class vision and mission. And we just go back to this every single morning on Mondays. Thanks, Holly. Holly says that she likes the idea of the notebook. On the notebook, I do preset some things. For example, if you saw on Relicas, I have links. Can you hear me now, Holly? Holly, can you hear us now? Okay. All right. So yes, we preset a few things in the notebooks that Relica uses and Haley uses. For example, I have links to our Google Classroom in there. I have, what other links do I have? Reading response questions. So while they're reading, if they want to send a reading response, they can respond on there. Other than that, we just talk about what we're going to do each day, and it doesn't matter if it's in their digital notebook or their physical notebook. That's what they put in their notebooks. Okay, we're going to exit at the end of our Do Now meeting, we have a session for comments, questions, and concerns. But we're going to go ahead and go back to our slide. So Do Now meetings are on Mondays. And then for the rest of the week, we have Do Nows. And actually, this week was the first time we started Do Nows for reading and writing. So I'll go ahead and share those. I think you liked them, right, guys?
Yes.
We made it fun, so they really enjoyed it. So what do you think about calling it a Do Now instead of just a bell ringer or something?
Just showing that you got to do it.
Okay, so it shows you got to do it right now.
Yeah.
Not to procrastinate. Good deal. So this is our Do Now, and I set it up as a slideshow. That way students can just edit the slideshow as they see it, and it kind of keeps it organized. Yes, Holly, some choose to do digital or paper notebook. Let's see. So this is every day we've done something different, whether it's like grammar practice or vocab practice, and then they of course loved this. Some of them did not. Our Beaver fans, some of them didn't, like Haley. And Amber. But the other ones got the opportunity to write about Justin Bieber, who they loved, and they had to use description, right, to write about a picture. So to write about description, what do you have to use? You've got to use commas. Okay. And you had to make sure that it wasn't a what? Run-on sentence. Good deal. And then this is what they're due now is for today, back there. They haven't got to do this yet, but this is their due now for today. And then tomorrow they'll do a reflection. So this is our due now for reading and writing. I teach 1 hour or one class of reading and writing. And everybody that has me in reading and writing will always have me again for history, right?
Yes.
So they get to have me at least 3 hours a day unless you're Relica or Alex or Trey. Okay, so here are history do nows. I love our history do nows because I love current events and political cartoons. So this allows us to have a little conversation. And what I do is I get our political cartoons every morning off of Editorial Cartoonist. It's just Google Editorial Cartoonist and it'll come up. And we analyze one cartoon per day. And normally it's pretty fun, and it's an easy way to get students up to date on current events, right? So what do you think? Can anybody talk a little bit about our do now for history?
First, we kind of describe what the picture looks like, and then we do inferences, and then we talk about what the picture actually means.
Okay.
And then,
And do I always lead the discussion?
No, most students do.
Okay, so we get volunteers, or sometimes the students get picked if we end up having the same people over and over again. But I'll show you our do now template. So they literally go to the picture and they copy it, and then they'll go to the do now template, and this is where they put their response. So we'll even do it. Yeah, we have to Control C, and then we'll go over here to our template and put the date. The 28th, right? Yeah. Yes. All right. Oh, that's not it. Oh, no. Maybe not. There we go. And then they'll have to shrink the image, but then they put their analysis next to it. So is this better than maybe doing it on paper? What do you?
Yes.
Yes,
Tell
it's
me.
better.
Yes.
Why?
Well, because some things you might not be right about, like the current news, you might not know what they're talking about, and you could always edit it and ask for feedback.
Okay. And if it's a cartoon, you kind of get to form your own opinion,
Yes.
right? Okay. So let's go ahead and go back. I'll show you an example of some do now responses that we have from students. Now this is from students, so keep that in mind. But this is what they do every day. And this was the beginning of the year. And they'll put in their response. And we actually keep up with it monthly, and we have a collage of the events for the week or for the month, and we're looking at it on the corner of our wall. But this will allow us to look throughout the whole year and see what kind of events have repeated throughout the year. Oh no. It's okay, we're back. All right. I also really love the way we do notes with Google Slides. What do y'all think?
Yes.
Okay, so describe, how about Alex? Come up here and describe the way we do notes.
Okay. Well, you either write it in your digital or physical notebook, but it's displayed on the screen so you can see it a lot easier. And yeah.
Okay, and so it's just a slideshow, like you can see, but then when you scroll to the next slide, a new thing will pop up. So I can choose what I want students to write down at what time. So I don't have students writing down notes 10 minutes ahead of where we're actually talking about. Anything else on that, guys?
It's also a good way to like explain what different sections it is, because some students might not know what it's about.
Mm-hmm. So we can separate it, like we've got political expansion. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
And I just like the way I can gradually let students see what I want them to see. That way they're not, you know, way up here when we're way back here. And then you can see I've given myself some notes. And I sometimes do that or I sometimes don't. But they also kind of like pictures, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and oh no, I'm doing it again. We also have assignments that I create, kind of like the reading and writing do now, and they are part of a slideshow. You like this one, Haley? Do you want to talk about it? Come on up.
I didn't think I was going to talk about it.
Stop laughing.
Okay, so like this project that we're doing now is Welcome to the World's Fair, because that's what we're learning about in our history class. And the reason why I like it so much is because I am very obsessed when it comes to all the different countries in the world. So, but I never knew about a World's Fair until we just started, and I'm getting to learn new things and how things are made.
Okay, and then this is a group project, right? And they can go in and edit this by themselves or as a group. So we have our LTs for this project, our learning targets, and then this is their rubric, and they'll see that again at the end of the slideshow. We have some day-by-day planning. And then they can go in and edit the questions. So as a group, tell them how this works.
First, talk to each other and see what you think of it. So you all want to work together and make sure that you're all on the same topic. And you want everyone's opinion.
Okay.
Do you mean space? I know.
It's okay. So if we go on, they can also put, so they're talking about what people experience at their fair, and then they have to add images and create an advertisement, but this is the only thing that really gets turned in. So everything that they turn in is accessible through this slideshow. And on Google Classroom, I can push it out to all the students and make their own copy for them. So they get their fresh copy, and as a group, they edit it all together. Holly, on the notes, I'm writing a reply, but what I do is I create a slideshow just like this one, and we can even go back to our notes. But I push it, and I'll have this up on, we've got a Promethean board, and I'll have these notes showing, and then we'll talk about Thomas Jefferson and Jeffersonian democracy and have a real conversation about it. I might have some students talk together and talk about the importance of, or the impact of Thomas Jefferson choosing to purchase, to make the Louisiana Purchase, but then how it actually impacted him and what he ended up.
It was just kind of.
He ended up not having a lot of money when he died because of it. So then when we get finished with that, I'll go to James Madison and we'll talk about James Madison. And it just allows my students to stay all together instead of having students 3 or 4 notes ahead and not listening to what we're talking about when it comes to James Monroe. Does that answer your question, Holly? Okay, we're going to go back. And the next thing we're going to talk about is some more of our assignments that we use with Google. So talk about Google Classroom. This is really the first year you've used Google Classroom a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you talk about that a little bit?
I will.
Okay, go ahead, Amber.
Okay. We have a class code. We type it in, and then we join the classroom, and then the teacher posts assignments, and then we do them.
Okay. And there are all sorts of things you can post on Google Classroom. So I have kind of an array of the assignments we've done. I post my rubric on there. So this is one of the activities we did at the beginning of the year. Do y'all remember this one?
Yes.
So I post the rubric, and then students can go and edit on the rubric. And this is actually, I think this is my example. And then the students can keep working. This is what it ends up looking like when they turn it in. So you still see my rubric, and that might be even where I score them. And then they'll do their assignment at the bottom. And so I push this, and each student gets a copy on Google Classroom, and then they can edit it and turn it in, and I'll see my rubric at the top, but their work at the bottom. We also did the Men Who Built America using Google Classroom. So again, I've just pushed the assignment, and Alex is going to talk to you a little bit about using an add-on called EasyBib, which I don't think we know what we do without, right?
Alright, what EasyBib allows you to do is you can click on it, and then you add a website link to, and it'll add it to your bibliography, so you don't have to type it out yourself. It's just an easier way to do your bibliography because it sets it up for you.
Okay, good job. So we love it because if we are, for example, creating a project about, let's pick one of our Men Who Built America, Nikola Tesla. They can search Nikola Tesla, search Nikola. And we know not to use Wikipedia, right?
Yes.
But we can choose maybe this website and go back to our project and use our EasyBib add-on. Look up a website that we were just on, and that's the one we were at, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll add it to our bibliography, and then you're done. It's really nice and easy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I have them do that, and then normally put their notes underneath it. Okay. Then for their Men Who Built America project, we used our Chromebooks, and this isn't a Google tool, but it was fun. And they created fake books. I think this one's on Carnegie, yeah, or Vanderbilt. And so the students used their research to pretend that they were Vanderbilt and the people in Vanderbilt's life. And they tried to kind of analyze his life, right? Did y'all have fun with this one?
Yes. It was a lot of fun.
Good deal. Okay. Well, we talked about the EasyBib extension. So you have assignments. Most of the things I do are probably pushing out rubrics and the assignment being on the rubric and the student just turning that in all together. But then we also have notes checkups, which is kind of more of a traditional assessment where a student has to write their name and then answer 8 to 10 questions on the notes that we just studied in class. And what I love about it as a teacher is that I can quickly give them feedback. So most of you can know by the end of that hour how you did, right? And then if they want to, they can always redo it. So if we see if I can show you how to use Flubaroo. Does anybody watching use Flubaroo? Just love it. I don't know what we do without it. So you can view your responses. And Flubaroo is an add-on for Google Sheets. So we'll do our add-on, we'll do Flubaroo, and we'll grade the assignment. And I've already graded it once, so it's going to ask me if I really want to do it again. Yes, Holly, love Flubaroo. So I would assign grades, like how many points. Obviously, it knows that your name and their class hour are going to identify the student. We're going to keep going. I'm going to be the key. So I have to decide who the key is. Riley, do you want to be the key? And then it'll let us grade the assignment really quickly. And we'll get the names off. But it'll tell us how students did. And then it'll also highlight questions that students didn't do well on, so I can maybe even throw that one out. So I love it. Anything to add, guys? Okay, we'll keep on going. So these are some more things that I do. This is one of my favorite new tools that I've happened upon, and it's how to log your calls while you're making a call to a parent or anyone really. So I use Google Voice, and I create my own phone number because I love you guys, but I would not want you calling my personal number, right? My husband wouldn't like that either. So, but it'll let me keep track of my conversations. So in case you don't know how to do that, just go to Google Voice and click that link there. And it'll take you to that. And then I've got step-by-step how to get started. So you have a forwarding phone, use your personal cell phone, and it'll call the personal cell phone, but it'll give you a new number. And I think I've set my number to Portland, Maine, because I really love Portland, Maine. And you get to choose your own number. Oh, I'll go back. We're not there yet. But it's also really nice because when you get on Google Voice, you can keep track of your calls, and it'll give you like a history of who you've called and when. So I really like that as a tool for teachers. All right, we're going to go ahead and go back, and then the last thing that we really have to talk about, and then we'll just field questions, is the Google Glass. Love the Google Glass. I received it. Our team wrote a grant last fall, fall before last, and we received the grant not last December, but the December before last for the Google Glass. So I enjoy it because, as you can see in this little girl's face here, she's thrilled. It makes the students the leader. They can totally do things and tell you about their experience and tell you about their learning through their eyes. So I've got a few videos if you want to watch those. And you can obviously click on them. But this little girl's talking about a project that she's doing. Or no, sorry, this is a boy.
These are little helper here. It shows us what to do. Gives us the option of what answers, like questions we want to answer, and how to describe stuff. And
And what I really love is that he's explaining what he's doing as he's doing it, so it takes his learning to a higher level.
It's kind of messy.
Okay, and then, so that's from last year. This is this year. Oh no, it's not gonna let me do it. Hopefully if you can do this one, you can see, but we had students wear it as they were doing a westward expansion simulation. And I think this video is actually of Amber's group. Okay, so it's a lot of fun. All right, let's go back. All right, so does anyone have any questions? I've got 5 students here and they are eager to answer any questions that you have. So this is kind of their time. So if you have any, you can use the group chat on our Google Hangout page. Or you can send your question on our Today's Meet. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing. Is anybody have any questions about Google or how we use Google in the classroom? No. Do you have any other things you want to share that we do maybe?
No.
One thing that my students behind us, go ahead and wave again, guys. They are working on a companion book project for reading and writing. So a lot of them are working in groups of 2. And so those students have a document open, but they've also shared the document, right, Braden? They've also shared the document with their partner. Yeah, I think they're quiet because they're, I don't know, they're worried about their voices going over there. We have one that's willing to dance. No, you're okay. But so in groups of 2, and this happens a lot. I know you use sharing a lot. How about you talk about sharing?
Sharing is like an easier way for me to talk to my partner instead of like out loud, because I'm kind of a loud person and I like to argue about things. So we could like put our opinions in the Google slides and just do comments and talk about what we need to improve on. Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody else use sharing? I know that actually, I know Alex, you're working on a project in a group of 2. Is anybody else? Are you doing one-person projects? One. Okay, so Alex is doing a 2-person project, and he's done another one earlier this year with another student. And both of them will be working on different sections of the project on the same page at one time, and they really love that. Another thing I love about using Google Docs is revision history. So how many times have you accidentally deleted something? Anybody? Okay.
I do a lot.
And the revision history is extremely helpful, right?
Yes.
So you can go back if you're on Google Docs, and I'll show you. I'm sure we've got one here. So say I wanted to get rid of what I did on the Men Who Built America project, and I'll go back to our screen share. Maybe. Okay, just share the screen with you. So here on this document, if a student accidentally wrote this, or maybe they accidentally wrote it and then just totally deleted it. And they're like, oh no, Miss Gillespie, I had it there yesterday and now it's gone. I love the fact that I can go to revision history and say, okay, well, where was your change? And they'll say that one right there. And I can go back to where I wrote it. And maybe we want more detail revisions. So we went back to where we had that and the notes. And all I do is click restore this revision and give it a second and it's back. So that's really nice because that's probably at least a every other day thing where it's, oh no, something accidentally got deleted.
It also helps when people are being stupid and like typing bad things.
Okay, so you can go back and what?
See what they've been typing.
Okay, and that was more of an issue last year, but if a student maybe is working on a group project together and one person ends up kind of being silly on this group project, I can go back and see the revision history and it highlights who did what. And each person gets a different color. So I know that Thomas maybe was the one that did something that he shouldn't have done on a group project because Thomas is orange and all of Thomas's text is orange. So I can use revision history to go back and see what was done in the past. Okay. All right, anything else you don't want to talk about?
Sharing. Sharing is really helpful for someone that's like missed a whole lot of school and you're doing a project, so they can like share with someone and just do a project together, so that person doesn't have to do it all by themselves because they don't really understand it.
Yes, and we've had a lot of that, and so it's like they really didn't miss anything at all. Another thing that I really love is when I have a substitute teacher, I can put an assignment on Google Classroom and it's like I'm there. So earlier this year, October, November, I got really sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so tell them what happened.
You would look at people's documents that they were in, and go and edit them if they needed help or answer their questions for them.
So
People comments.
yeah, I can be in my pajamas at home drinking some hot tea, and
You could also post the assignment that we were supposed to do in whenever you were absent, and you could just do that. And we can ask you like how to do it.
yeah.
Links for IXL.
Yes.
Yeah, so I posted the links for IXL last week when I was at a PD. And then I think you're working on another project in October and November. And we had just like a group chat on Google Classroom. And it was actually just an announcement, like post your questions here and I'll reply. And so I was like at the doctor's office or at home and I was replying to their comments in the second because I was trying to help them out. Which kind of eliminates the role of a substitute. But.
Yes.
All right, any other questions? No?
I can send up sharing.
You want to add something? Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Like if it's a group project and the person who is typing it is absent, then you do like share it. That way the other people can work on it while they're absent, so you don't have to get into their account.
Yeah, and that's another great thing because we had a student yesterday that was absent, and they're working on the group project for World's Fair, and I could go on there because all of our students' work ends up on my Google Drive. So I could go and find the student's assignment because it was under his name, and then just share it with other students in that group to be sure that they all got it too, and they ended up not losing a day just because one of their group members was there. Kind of like if you have a student that leaves a paper at home that they need for this assignment, instead of just losing a day on it, we can just kind of recreate the document and it's like it was never lost at all. Yeah. Anything else? Do you have any questions for us? Haley wants to know. Anything at all. Doesn't have to be about Google. Could be about life. Malika says no.
Just hide with
Okay, we have a comment from TechStorm that asks, how do we use the Google Glass? I'm trying to look and see what the full question is. Okay, so here's some issues that we've kind of had with Google Glass and why we haven't got to use it a lot. Hangouts on Air, actually what we're using right now, wasn't totally working for all of us until today. So there's a lot of tools that I'm going to use with Google Glass more when we get that. We're actually going through some infrastructure changes. Right now, all we use are just videos. So a student can put on the glass and say, okay, glass, start recording. And they can go out in the hallway and do a simulation. So we've done, especially for our westward expansion assignments for our westward expansion chapter, a lot of students did simulations. And so I would send Amber's group or Haley's group, Relica's group, I would send them out to the hallway and they would have on the glass. So what they were doing would still be recorded, but I could still be in class with another group, and I would get to see what they were doing later. My goal for using the Google Glass would be to connect like we're doing right now. So if a student is doing a project or a presentation, or what I'm really thinking would be cool is if they did a science experiment in science class, they could have on the glass and do a Google Hangout on air like we're doing now, and they would be broadcasting live. And so it really puts the students in the driver's seat of their education.
There's also a project that we did last year. It was like we were doing like some sort of a slideshow, and we could talk in the background about like, I think my project was about the witch trials. So it was, I think the Google Glass would have been helpful if like we used it last year, because we had like technical difficulties, like it wouldn't load, it wouldn't save, and maybe just like a person, you can just see a person standing and talking to the camera. Like YouTube, it would be like more helpful, and you don't have to like edit as much as you had to, because everyone like literally had their project like due for like at least 3 weeks, and they couldn't do it because it just kept stopping.
Mm-hmm. I think it would also be cool if like when we got to the civil rights movement in history, if we had students do projects maybe in like groups of 5, and they had to talk about the civil rights movement through the eyes.
We could also like do a debate thing, like we could video chat.
Alyssa loves debates.
Yes,
that would be
I
cool.
do.
But yeah, that would be really neat. So you're giving me some ideas. All right, any other questions that maybe we're catching up on? We've got a good 15 minutes left, and we would love to answer some questions. 2 thumbs up from Haley. Relica, are you still back there?
Yeah, hiding. Okay.
All right, anything else? Do you feel like there's any other assignments maybe I can pull up that you want to show off?
The breakout box.
Like, do you want to talk about the breakout box?
Sure.
Okay, Amber's going to talk about the breakout box.
Okay.
So, wait, let me preview. Breakout isn't necessarily on Google, but I definitely use Google tools to build a breakout session. So if anybody if you haven't heard about Breakout EDU, that's what she's going to be talking about. And you can go look it up, and if you have any questions, I'm a huge Breakout EDU fan, crazy about it. All right, go ahead, Amber.
You printed clues all around the room, and we used those clues to figure out the combination for the box and then open it.
So it's basically an escape room, and students, instead of trying to escape out of my room, which I'm sure they always want to do it for lunch. Sorry, go ahead, Haley.
If you ever played a game, it's called Can You Escape? It's pretty much the same thing, just with words instead of just finding different objects to get from one number to another. So,
yeah, and their goal is to get inside the box. Tell them about the clues. Like, how does it relate to history? Why do we even do it in history class?
It's really like mind challenging how you can like take apart the piece of paper. Like there's like different sections that we might think that it's not really important, but she might give us a clue like in front of our faces, and yet we don't get it. So it's like a team effort where we like analyze the small papers.
So like, for example, one of the ones that we had in our Civil War breakout was about carpetbaggers, and it was a whole page on the history of carpetbaggers and what it is, and tell them what happened.
And we didn't even know what we were talking about. We just kept looking around the room because we had the paper like right in front of us, and I think was it in the back? Was there like in the back?
I don't think it just said carpetbaggers. And so, yeah,
It just
all it was supposed to do was tell students to go look under the carpet, but they had this whole page, like a reading page on carpetbaggers, and so they started like reading all about it and saying, well, let's go look at the year, and
let's Google when it was found.
And
Yeah.
so
research and trying to find everything.
okay,
Yeah.
As our artist, because that's all we done was try to figure it out over the computer when it's obviously underneath the globe or underneath the chair.
okay, so like the clue was actually easier than you thought it would be, but what did it make you do? You had to think harder, and you had to go. You found out when years that had to do with carpetbaggers, or
We were overthinking it.
you're overthinking it, but you were learning things as you were overthinking it, right? So they love Breakout EDU. It was so much fun. And let's see, we've done, I guess, only one in class, but I've got a few created that we'll have to do later. All right, any other questions or anything you want to talk about that you like in class? What?
Something that we could just talk about the last
Talk about class job.
We do have class jobs. We have a tech genius in here. Alex used to be a tech genius, and Haley Relica is our tech genius.
I'm our tech genius in history.
And Amber is our tech genius in history. I didn't even think about that when I was deciding to have y'all up here. And so tell them what your job is as a tech genius. I guess I'll.
If anyone like has trouble with their computers, they don't go to Miss Gillespie, they come to us, and we're supposed to help them. If we can't figure it out, then they go to Miss Gillespie.
That's 3 before me.
Yeah.
That's what we were always told in Miss Games's class.
Class 3 before me. Yep. So they've kind of enjoyed it. Anything else? We do have Chromebooks. I'll just tell you a little bit about our school. In our class, we have a set of Chromebooks that we share with other classes. We're very soon, fingers crossed, going to be 1-to-1, and they're very excited about that. Lisa, that is good to know. Yeah, our keys on our Chromebooks right now aren't so hot. Anything else? All right. If you have any more questions, we'd love to answer them. What?
I'm just looking around the room.
Looking around the room trying to decide what to talk about? Yeah. I will say I have a blog that I'm not very good with blogging, but it's a Google site blog. And I like it. I just can't seem to get in the habit of doing it. Another thing that is brand new, but as a teacher, if you're looking for new Google tools to use, I've really enjoyed is Google Keep. It has a lot of neat things. I'll try to pull it up for us. I have a whole googly eyes section on my phone. So Google Keep is nice because you can keep up with notes on here. For example, I do my reflections on here, and it also lets you do them vocally. So a lot of my reflections at the end of the day will be just voice memos, and then I can store all of my voice memos together. But just another tip, you can also put your grocery list on here and then set it to where it'll like notify you at certain locations. So whenever I drive by Walmart or get close to Walmart, my grocery list will pop up on my phone because of an app called Google Keep.
My mother needs that.
Yeah.
She likes writes it down, and then whenever we head to the grocery store, the list would be at the house.
So it's nice. Or if you, I need to remember when I get to school tomorrow to do this. Students, this might be good for you. You can say what you need to remember when you get to school tomorrow, and then when you walk in the door or get to this address, it'll pop up on your phone. And that's called Google Keep. So let's see if I can show you that. That's what it, maybe if you can see it. Maybe not. There we go. Okay. Google Keep, definitely suggest it, but you can also use voice memo with it or take pictures with it. Anything else? All right, there's 10 minutes left. Let us know if you have any more questions. Because I guess that's all we've got. All right, any questions? We're looking at our group chat. We're looking at our Google Plus page. TechStorm, I hope I answered your question about how we use Google Class. And I hope that in the future we can add more on that. Holly, do you have any more questions for us out there? All right, we're going to go ahead and end. We thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good morning and a great day for Miss Gillespie's class. Guys, you want to say hi? So that's it. Thank you so much.